you to just relax, open up your minds and think out of the box. This is a very general topic. I'll try and try not to talk too much medicine. Feel free to interrupt, stop, ask questions, clarify whenever there are any doubts. The slides are going to be just straightforward, a series of questions. If at the end of the talk there are more questions than answers, then that's great. I want you to just be a sport, close your eyes when you contemplate, and answer this question. You want to write it down, or you want to raise your hand and speak it out aloud, that would be great.
The purpose of life.
Extend.
The purpose of my life is to give a message to as many people as I can before I go to people.
And that will give you happiness. That will give you satisfaction. Helping others, spreading the message of God, happiness and satisfaction. Take advantage when you get a second chance. And the reason?
Because I did, thanks to you.
Taking care of yourself.
Eating properly, doing exercise.
And that doing exercise, diet, and that will give you
Makes you feel good, makes you healthy.
healthy. Anybody else?
What made everybody clap? My hearing aid was turned in.
So a second chance, thanks to me. Anybody else? So generally the end point is happiness. Whatever we do, whatever we desire, whatever our purpose is, it ends up in satisfaction. It ends up in bringing about a deep sense of happiness. We seek this, whether we say it or not, through different roads. I mean, some through, like he said, different maybe the approaches, but the end result is the same, some sense of happiness. So what is happiness? No stress. So in a negative way, we have defined something saying, as long as there's no stress, I'm happy. That's the bottom line.
You know, we can't live without stress. If we didn't have some stress, we would go home and just stay out of the way.
Well, we can use a different word for that. We can use desire, or we can use motivation. Stress in general is something not desired. So in other words, there is eustress and distress. So eustress is a good stress. That's a thrill. That's a drive that keeps you going. That's a good stress. Then there's distress. Distress is undesired. You want to run away from it. But what is happiness?
To me, having someone to love and love me.
Love. Expression of love is happiness.
Feeling good.
Feeling good is happiness.
Like.
Liking.
Liking.
Liking and it's happiness. Gratefulness.
Be happy by helping other people.
Serving others.
Well, happiness is waking up in the morning and not finding roses
Basic thing.
I just like doing little things for other people.
Small things for others. Make them day better.
What do you think is happening?
Good question.
So, being healthy. Someone mentioned being healthy is happiness. Yes.
Forgiving?
Forgiving. Getting rid of our anger or grudge or whatever it is against anybody and forgive. And what is health? We'll just leave happiness for a little bit. Anybody? What is being healthy? We can just say happiness is lack of stress. If I'm not stressed, I'm happy. Can we define health that way?
I'm not sick.
If I don't have disease, I'm healthy.
I'm not sick.
Is
all
that
the
enough?
time, then I'm good.
Not sick all the time, I'm healthy. Is that enough?
Exercise.
That's a way or means towards the goal. But what is that goal of being healthy? So we have a definition. World Health Organization has a definition of what health is. Health by World Health Organization means a positive state of well-being at physical, mental, and social level, and not merely absence of illness or infirmity. So, World Health Organization wants to stress on the fact that there is a positive state of health and not just absence of disease. Now, we all should strive to reach that positive state of health at these three levels: physical, mental, social. For a while, they tried to put a spiritual well-being, but they could not agree on it. So they took it out. But anyway, these three levels, that's what
Can
we
we
say.
use it anyhow?
We use it anytime. Spiritual is an important part. Now, the problem with that definition, it is so fluid. What is the positive state? Say at a physical level. I may say I am fine, but I want to look like Tom Cruise. Well, I'm not happy. You can always set a level and say, well, I want to be better. At a mental level, I may be fine, but I see somebody better, more stable in stress situation, and I say, I want to be like that person. Does that make me unhealthy? Because it makes me sad. Right? So how do we get that definition? So modern medicine, it couldn't really reconcile with this definition because it's so fluid that they felt, well, this is beyond our scope. Let's focus on something that we can grasp. Let's focus on disease. So that's much more easier. So for the last 500 years, medicine has been focused on defining illness, knowing more about it, put time, effort, attention, money into disease process. Trying to know what is wrong. That we've lost the focus on what is right. We don't know or we don't pay attention towards what health is, what that positive state is. And now in this age of reducing healthcare expenditure, it has become very, very essential to get back to that foundation, the foundation of health. And when they are firmly rooted in health, diseases go away, melt away, they disappear. I'm talking about chronic preventable diseases. Yes, accidents happen, they throw challenges in our life, but chronic preventable diseases will disappear when we are firmly rooted in health. So 5,000 years ago, this was the definition of health. according to yoga, the definition of health in Sanskrit is swastha. That's the word, swastha. Just one word. Swa is myself. Tha means I'm existing. I'm existing within myself. I'm living within myself. And that's the definition of that. So what is myself? What is that mean? So we go to the story of this Himalayan musk deer. Found in the Himalayas, the male deer, after reaching a certain age, it has a pouch underneath the belly, which releases the musk. It's a perfume. You've heard of musk. That fragrance is overwhelming to the deer, and it goes crazy. It tries to look for the source of the fragrance all around in the shrubs, in the mountains, in the rocks, in the water. It just runs around. After a certain age, it starts getting that perfume, and it just goes crazy. And in the last desperate attempt, it jumps off the cliff and dies on the rocks below. The hunter comes and takes off the pouch and walks off. So this is standard. That's how the male deer die. Well, what's the significance? Well, the perfume was within. It just didn't know it. And to an extent, we are like that. Health is within. Happiness is health. Happiness is within. Just like the perfume, it is within us. We just don't know it. And we keep looking for it outside. So within self, what is self? I'm living myself. Of course, I'm in my body. Well, this is where it gets crazy. We're going to quantum physics and neuroscience. I don't want to bore you. But what the scientists are talking about right now is if you cut down the objects into go smaller beyond atoms and molecules, we go down to what is called as quantum. And quantum, or quanta for plural, they behave in a peculiar way. They can have, when they collide or they interact with each other, they can disappear. Or they can become 2, or 4, or 10, or whatever. There are thousands of possibilities which are mutually exclusive. And that's called superposition. Superposition of quantum. But all possibilities are exclusive, so they don't happen. Everything doesn't happen. Now you want a subject, an observer, consciousness. You bring in consciousness, and the consciousness observes what's happening to the quanta, and that's what happens. From superposition, one possibility happens. One or other mutually exclusive events happen. That's quantum leap. So quantum becomes quantum leap, or a possibility comes out when you interact with consciousness. Why is this important? Well, it's important because consciousness is an important part of object. So science uses the word consciousness. We have several words for it, right? If we go down to that level, all matter or material is dependent on the spirit, consciousness. So the spirit, consciousness, soul, real and eternal. It is not created and cannot be destroyed. Whereas everything else, matter, from gross to subtle, is ever changing. So then what is our specialization. As humans, what is our specialty? Every species, by the word, by definition, species of animals, every species means they're specialized in certain things, specialized in certain skills. Birds fly, fishes swim, so on. What is the specialty of humans? Mankind.
Many specials.
One.
For good reason.
The word man, the origin of the word man is Manusha in Sanskrit. Manusha means I utilize my mind. Man is mind. Ability to use the mind is our specialty. The ability to differentiate between right and wrong, that discrimination part. The ability to use my willpower is what differentiates us from. And the ability to use man. So man, woman is not a gender thing. It's mind. So it's mankind is mind kind. So when we are essentially, according to this, according to neuroscience now, we are spirit covered with biomatter, as opposed to matter with a spirit inside. So underlying everything known or unknown is consciousness, which is all pervasive, permanent, and blissful. And that is swastika. When I come back to that existence of me, I'm always going to be happy and never going to be sad. It's just when I'm not there, that's when we go through all the issues. So I am that, whatever that is, right? God, Brahman, Kingdom of Heaven. That's the different name, but I just don't know it. That connection is there. It's like the sun. The sun is there. We can't experience the sun, see the sun directly. So we have different ponds, and there's a reflection of the sun on the pond. The reflection is going to be dependent on how clear the water is and how still the water is. When the water is turbulent, the reflection is not seen. When the water is muddy, the sun is not seen. I clean the water, I still the water. Now the reflection of the sun is shining brightly. The sun is the God, the pond is us. We need to get to that realization. Two tasks: to clean the water and still the water. So how do I remove my layers of ignorance to come to that knowledge? So the two steps. Mastery over likes and dislikes. Cultivate non-doership. And when these two steps are perfected, the mind is purified, ready for the knowledge that I am complete. Nothing else is going to make me complete. I am whole. That's the goal.
Dr. Nayak, I don't understand non-doership.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. The first is likes and dislikes. Likes and dislikes is like cleaning the water. Cleaning the dirt. Two ways to do it. We have to gain mastery over it. Two ways to do it. We have to practice and we have to be objective all the time. Practice is to gain certain distance between my thoughts and myself. My thoughts are me, but I am not my thoughts. The thoughts are coming from my instrument, which is my mind, body, sense, organ complex, but it's not me. Once we keep on practicing it, it's hard, but we keep on practicing. We start. We have several tools for it. We have meditation, pranayama, the breathing exercises. Keep chanting, I am not my mind, I am not my body. There are various tools. But the goal is you have to create a certain distance from the thoughts which are unreal, changing, matters, subtle matters. Not gross matter that we can feel and touch. We can see and touch, but it's subtle matter. But it's matter nevertheless. And myself. So we need to create that distance. That distance, that practice to create that distance is necessary. And then the next step is objectivity. Well, we have an observing eye and a perceiving eye. Observing eye is we see things as they are. Perceiving eye, we now put a subjective value to the things as they are, and then we become emotional or attached to it. Like something happened and it is bad. Well, something happened is an objective assessment. It's bad is my subjective attribute on the object, on that event. So I need to keep on practicing to remove that subjective part and see whatever is happening or event or object as they are. That's objectivity. So if you think about it and contemplate on this, these two will get you to overcome your likes and dislikes. Now that's an essential step towards cleaning the pot. Because we have been habituated, trained, taught towards everything seeking what we like and avoiding what we don't like. Well, we need to unlearn that. Whether it be food, exercise, whatever we do, relationships, whatever we seek. Every time we do anything or seek anything, we have to constantly go through this filter saying, is it qualifying this requirement? Or am I under my influence of likes and dislikes? And the next step is non-doership. Well, the non-doership becomes easier to understand when you truly understand or know that you are the self. It's hard right now because we are not at that state. No one is. If we believe that this body, mind, sense organ complex, we're going to put that all together. Sense organs, we see, we hear, we touch, we feel. We get the sensory input, it goes to the mind processes it, and then output is given. In between the input and the output, there is some interaction with our higher intellect, which gives us information as to, oh, this is right or this is wrong, or do this or this. Discrimination, we call it. Now, if we feel that that is not me, the true self, but that is all my instruments. So they are performing the action, not me. That is non-doership. Example. Imagine yourself, you're the owner of an estate and you have many servants. And the servants do the tasks. They receive guests, they clean the yard, they landscape, they do the dish, everything is taken care of. And you are the owner. Well, if the guests appreciate anything, do you take the credit? If you're a good owner, you will not. You'll say, no, it's my so-and-so, so-and-so. Cook. Eat it. Something bad happens. If you're a good owner, you will take the blame. But that's non-doership. Take the blame and not be sad about it. But take the blame and say, I didn't train them well. I still need to train them. You still have non-doership, but it's towards perfecting my instruments better. something bad happens through the instruments. I need to train them there. So take ownership as much as possible for all mistakes, but do not take credit for anything good happening around you. So we went over this. The instruments is the mind, body, ego. Ego is part of it. Ego is the main thing that separates realization of what self is and attaches self to the mind, body, and sense organ. So why training? Just we went over it because we want to reflect the life. So you're going on a vacation. You have to enjoy the countryside. You have to enjoy the countryside, and the only way to do it is to ride a horse. But the horse is wild. So, let me just ride, right? I don't have time. Let me sit on it and go. I'll see whatever I can see. What is the horse going to do? It's going to throw you down. If you're not wanting to throw you down, you're going to hold on tight. After 10 minutes of the wild ride, you come back, and if I ask you, how was the scenery?
What scenery?
So that's what I mean by training the instrument. If I take my time and patience and train the horse, throw me down, fall back, get back, train it again, keep doing it, but I'm not going to give up. I'm not interested in the scenery. I'm just interested right now in training the horse. And one fine day, the horse will be trained. You take it for a ride. That's happiness. All the scenery you want to see. Until then, it's hard work. So how long does it take? It doesn't matter. Who cares? The process itself is fun. It doesn't matter whether you get to that realization that you are it, that you are whole, that you are complete. But just in the process of overcoming my likes and dislikes and cultivating the feeling of non-doership and training these instruments, the proportion of ease, calm, and peace will keep on increasing, as opposed to restlessness, unease, discomfort, anger, all the negative traits will keep on decreasing. So whether you reach the goal or not, it's just a good path. And that's the last line.